Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's open forum. Today's open forum, we're going to discuss all the changes that we've been. We're going to recap them all, summarize them all the changes that are going on right now with the buyer brokerage compensation and how we're going to deal with them. So, one thing I'm getting a lot of questions on. So, the first thing I'm going to cover, and one thing a lot of you guys are doing incorrectly. I'm going to go to the compensation field. The only thing that's changed about this listing agreement. So, this listing agreement. I'm also getting questions on where to find it. It is the only one available now on Form Simplicity or Transaction Broker. It has been updated. If you look at the bottom of the form on every page, it says revised 7/2024, which is July of 2024, last month. And it is TB Transaction Broker. So do use the ERS 20 TB Transaction Broker form. Exclusive right of sale transaction broker is what it's called. So if you go to line 106 on the third page, it is the compensation. That is what has changed. Please pardon my voice today. I've been sick. So compensation. What has changed is this. If you are doing a typical, I'm going to call it typical, like we've been doing traditionally, the 6%, 3%, 3%, or you can do whatever split they'll agree to, whatever amount they'll agree to, 5%, 6%, 7%, whatever the split is that you agree to with them. That is the amount that we are Florida Realty Investors. So how that has always worked is we put 6 here, and then down in the cooperation paragraph, which we'll get to in a second, that's where you've always put 3 or 2.5 or whatever, and you'd put it on there 3 times, however you're doing it for single agent, transaction broker, or non-rep. That's what has traditionally been done. I used to get a lot of questions from you guys on that. What's the difference? All that. That was none of your business. It was how they were doing their representation with their client. So it didn't matter to us. Some people would put the same percent all the way across. Some people would put 3 and 3 and then 1 for non-rep. It doesn't really matter. So that is gone now. So now we only do one thing for the cooperating broker. But on this top one, we'll get to that in a second. On this top one is the amount that FRI is going to take in total. So if the seller says, yes, let's do 6%, and you got 3 and 3, whatever you want to do, or 5%, 2.5, 2.5, whatever, that is the number that goes in here on line 109 right here. That is what it will be. Okay. If they are paying you and they don't want to pay the buyer's agent, or they say, we'll negotiate it, whatever, and they're paying you 3% or 2.5%, put that number here. If the seller wants to negotiate with the buyer's agent or whatever, that'd be the only time really necessary for the seller to pay the buyer's broker directly. So in that case, you wouldn't do the whole 5 or 6% here. You would just do what they're going to give us, okay, which would be your part. So if they say, yeah, I'll pay you 2.5%, but I want to negotiate with the buyer's broker when the offer comes in, depends on what they give or whatever, right? So that's where you would do the 2.5 or 3 or 2 or whatever they're paying you here. And then you go down to, it used to be in the next paragraph, but now they have all these notices. So go down to 10. 10A is old school, 6%, 3 and 3, whatever. This is what they all used to say. Seller authorizes broker to offer compensation to buyer's broker. And so this is when you would do the other 3 or 2.5 or 2 or whatever it is you're offering the other side. I had somebody yesterday put 3% here and then put purchase price, and they thought this said of $350,000. That is not how this works. Just do X% purchase price, or you're going to pay them $5,000 or $10,000, whatever that is agreed to. And that is what you will tell them when they ask, what are you offering? When they send you a text or they send you a whatever to ask what you're offering, or you will, if you do it right, you'll put it on the compensation form, which we'll talk about in a minute. So this is where seller authorized broker to offer compensation to buyer's broker, the amount of whatever percent you're offering them. If you do the full 5 or 6% or whatever it is here, okay? If not, if you do 2% there or 3% there, whatever your side is getting, and because the seller said they want to negotiate, then you would do seller authorized broker to offer compensation to buyer's broker from seller, and the amount of, and in this case, if they want to negotiate it, you'll put see additional terms, and you'll put it in there. Seller wants to negotiate with buyer. That's it. All right. So then when people ask you, you say seller will negotiate it with you. Or the seller, one of you guys called me yesterday. Seller doesn't want to offer anything to the buyer's broker. Well, then you'll do this right here. And they can still do it they can still negotiate it, but we're not offering anything right now. So then you could just check 10C. Now, could they do a concession where the money goes to? Absolutely. That's up to the seller and buyer's broker to figure out later. Seller and buyer, I should say, because it's going to be on the contract, but the buyer owes the buyer's broker by a commission agreement of some sort, right? The buyer's broker agreement or the showing agreement. All right. That is, give me some questions on this if you have them. Lori, go ahead.
You have to.
Lori, you have a question? Rakesh.
Yeah, so Ryan, on this option, when option B, right, 10B, when seller want to negotiate about how much they want to pay to the buyer side, who is structuring this agreement between the seller and the buyer's broker? Is that still you help the seller, or seller directly need to do on their own agreement with the buyer's broker?
They will do their own agreement. This is, I'm not sure a situation in which we're doing this that's not already decided, that they don't want to negotiate it later. I have not seen that. If you guys tell me, I mean, there's no reason for them to say, I want to pay you, Rakesh, as my listing agent, I want to pay you 3%, but I only want to pay the other side 2%, which is fine. I only want to pay the other side 2%. Well, then in that case, you would just write 5 up top and then put 2 on 10A, right?
Right.
Unless they want to negotiate it later, can't think of a scenario why the seller would say, I want to pay them and go ahead and give you a set amount right now. If that makes sense. I can't imagine why. No, I don't want you to offer it. I want to offer it, and I want to do it 2% no matter what. That doesn't make sense to me. So
right. So most likely we'll probably see option A or C. Very rarely.
Or A or C, or sometimes B when you put that they want to negotiate it.
Yeah, that's my question. Like when they want to negotiate, it says that they are really signing a separate written agreement between seller and buyer. Is that the agreement seller? You have to help the seller, or they will do on their own, basically.
That's your seller's the buyer's broker.
Okay, but you still have to help them basically with a template or something.
Of course, there's the form.
Yeah,
so use the form.
Yeah,
but most of the time, that's not going to happen very often. And most of the time, I would just use the additional terms and say they want to negotiate. Seller wishes to negotiate based on the offer.
Right. Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions on this? It is a mess, guys, and things are changing all the time. They're going to come out with new forms, they said, for some stuff. I don't know exactly what yet. As you see, they've already backed off of the concessions field, which we talked about in here that they probably would, because it seemed an awful lot like a replacement for the compensation. And so there are people getting threatened with lawsuits about the concession field in different areas. I don't think our MLS was, but there were people talking about it and threatening it, lawyers. And so they've already removed it. It did seem like a pretty obvious replacement for the compensation field based on the timing of it. I mean, we've had all these years, we could have had a concession field, and as soon as they take the compensation field, they're going to add it. Of course, it seems awfully suspicious. Lori, do you have a question?
Yes, I received a text from an investor who's interested in one of my listings, but he has informed me that he represents himself and he is not working and does not wish to work with any buyer agents. So he asked me to send him any disclosures concerning the listing, which I haven't yet done. And but he's not going to be using me as a buyer for buyer representation. He does not want to sign a buyer brokerage agreement. I texted you. I sent you a copy of the text that he sent me. How do I handle this?
And just have him sign a non-representative form. He has the right as a person to not be represented and to not sign anything with any broker.
Okay, so if I send him a non-representation form, What
That covers
happened?
you. Yes, that covers you. You're showing your own listing. That's perfectly fine. You
Okay,
can
so
show,
what
guys, you can
happens?
show your own listings without signed forms.
Okay, so what happens with if he buys the place? What happens to the commission? Do I get both sides of the commission?
Sure, if that's what your agreement says. You on the old agreement?
I,
Or you
I
just
have
you
the
on this
old
agreement?
contract. I have the old purchase contract, and
Well,
so if I get both
you
sides
mean
out
you
of
have the old listing agreement?
listing agreement, I'm sorry. Yeah,
If you
because
have 6% on there, and that's what you get.
okay, and out of curiosity, is the fee to my company, is that deducted twice or once?
One time.
Cool.
We-
Okay,
we-
I will proceed. Now I'll let him know what the counteroffer was to his texted offer. I'll let him know what the counteroffer was. I
Okay,
didn't want to even let him know that until I knew where I stood.
sure, sure. No, you're fine. You don't have to. It is, guys, for your own listings, you don't have to, and I get that question a lot. For your own listings, you don't have to. You don't have to have a signed one to send them MLS auto emails and stuff like that, or any listing information. You have to before you show them a property, but not
Well,
the other stuff.
he's not even interested in seeing it. It's no inspection period. He says he's going to bulldoze the property and use the land, the house. The notice of non-representation is in the list of forms that are on the paperless pipeline.
Well, it's on your transaction desk or form simplicity. Even if it is on paperless pipeline, but they're fillable on the other ones. All the new ones are fillable, but the old ones like that are not fillable on ours. But so you'd have to scan it. But you're going to want to just use it off of transaction desk or form simplicity.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, so if somebody doesn't want to sign a buyer broker agreement, in that case, you can actually send them the opposite. I am not your buyer broker. Yes, Monica.
Laurie, you asked Laurie if she was on the old listing agreement or the new one. If the situation was similar, like how would the compensation be different? If the listing agreement was new.
I was going to ask her which of these boxes was checked, because in that case, you would have 3% up top. Let's say on this one, let's say Lori's is 6 and she's getting 3 and 3. She's going to get both sides of it because he is not represented. And he cannot. So if he tries to, just so you know, I want to cover that real quick. If he tries to say, well, give my commission my part of the commission as a credit on the thing. No, he cannot if he's not licensed. So let's go back to this. If Monica, you asked if this said 3% here and the seller was going to give 3% from there, then she would not be getting all 6%. Okay. But if it says 6%, the old ones could only say 6% here or 5%, whatever, and she would get all 5 or 6%. And that's what she has. But and on this one's the same thing if they did 10A. Okay. So if you did 6 up top and then 10A and 3 here, then you would be able to keep that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You bet. Just like old times. Yes, Tammy. Tammy, you disappeared.
Hang on, I thought I hit my my button. So that guy's gonna write his own contract up. Her buyer
Right,
doesn't want to.
He better, because she doesn't represent him. She can't do it for him. She can't do it for him. I mean, she can, but she definitely needs a non-rep. Okay. Any other? Yeah, and she needs. I will say that too, Lori. Make sure he, I suggest an inspection and all this stuff, even though he's non-rep. Just cover yourself very closely. Obviously, he's some sort of sophisticated person, but always cover yourself. Any other questions on this before we go forward? Yes, Lori.
My seller has had me put it into the MLS that he will not entertain any offer that includes other than 0 days to inspect on this property.
That's fine. Okay. That's fine. Then you don't
Okay.
need to do that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on the listing agreement? The new listing agreement, and the only thing that's been changed is the compensation section. Everything else is the same. Rakesh.
So Ryan, I think the caveat I want to clarify, in case the person is representing him or herself or from the buyer side, can't get the compensation if they are not licensed. If they are licensed, then they will still get it. Correct?
Correct. They can negotiate the price down.
Right. But if we put 6% or 5% at the top in 8 section, and we don't have anything explicitly, then we can in that scenario get the whole commission. But if the person is licensed and representing themselves, then they will either they can write down, they can bring the price down, or they can get the commission, right?
Oh, theoretically, yes.
Yeah.
You just owe them the commission. What they decide to do is that they can negotiate for it. They can do whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, I think the other thing is you need to be checking the transaction broker, right? Because otherwise you can't.
Yeah.
Fill in that form.
Yes. Always use transaction broker forms.
Right,
but I want
right.
to tell you guys
Only-
something. So we recently had one where someone was trying to do that, representing themselves on a purchase, and they wrote in the additional terms, seller will give buyer 2.5%. That was the commission being offered, 2.5% concession. They did not write in lieu of commission, which is what they needed. So make sure your bases are covered on this kind of stuff. So make sure if they write that they realize it's in lieu of commission, in lieu of buyer's brokerage commission. That's what you need to write on there. If they're saying that, because that's what this guy wanted to do, and he did. But our agent needed to write, and they did, in lieu of buyer's brokerage commission. Okay, so make sure you're doing that. Covering your bases.
Why would you ever do that? It's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
It was,
I mean,
and not only that, Tammy, it was a cash deal, so it was really the dumbest thing ever. But he could have just, and he was his own broker, which a lot of times people who are their own brokers don't know what they're doing. No offense to anybody, but but he needed to do that. He also put buyer is going to choose title company and pay for it, and then they used the title company that was on the MLS. So just really crazy stuff. But he didn't realize he could write himself a commission contribution letter. And let me cover that real quick for you guys, because I get questions on those. What if you're buying something for yourself, or you want to give money back to your client? But a lot of times it's buying for yourself, and you don't want to pay ordinary income on the money that you make for this. You can put it toward the basis of the home if you have us write you a commission contribution letter. Now, that is not tax advice. I'm just telling you that's how it works. Have Michaela write you a commission contribution letter, and then that's less money you have to bring to closing. Well, if your commission was $15,000, that's $15,000 less you have to bring to closing. All right. They will put it towards your down payment or whatever, assuming if you have a lender that they don't mind. And usually they don't. Depends on if you go over your amount. Next question, Monica.
So you would want to get a concession instead of commission if buyer is an agent, because sometimes depending on the split you have, the agreement you have with your broker also, right? If you're taking a commission, then that would be split with the broker as well, right?
Yeah, that thing has to come from your broker. That paper, that commission contribution letter has to come from your broker. Some people will do that to avoid paying their broker. This guy did not. This guy didn't. So yeah, some agents will do that to avoid paying their broker.
Right.
People with splits. Okay. We don't have it here because we don't care what you guys do. We get the same fee no matter what. All right. Any other, Rakesh?
I have one quick question, Ryan. So just want to clarify one thing. If let's say I have with my client, I cap my commission to 2 or 2.5%, and then I see that in their listing they're giving the buyer side 3%. Is there any way I can structure my agreement that the extra can come as a concession to my buyer?
Yes, and we had our first one of these this week. Someone, Mary Lou, who asked this exact same question last week, got a $5,000 bonus from a builder, and her buyer signed a modification to the buyer's brokerage agreement. That is what you do. That allows you to take that extra money. Otherwise, you cannot take more than what's in the buyer brokerage agreement, which was about to be, I'm not going to go through it right now. I'm going to go through this other one first. But on that form, in fact, it says it on the bottom of every form, I think, that in no event will buyer broker's compensation exceed the amount of compensation in buyer broker's separate written agreement with buyer. Every form says that on it. This isn't even that form, and it says it on it. So this is seller's broker to buyer's broker. But I want to get onto this. So yes, just modification of buyer's brokerage agreement. Okay.
But my question is a little different in the sense that I agree that whatever I put, I can't get more than that. But if there is more on offer, can that be diverted to the buyer?
Yeah, you have to modify your agreement.
Okay.
That's the same thing. They're offering her a bonus she didn't expect. So
Okay.
so she had 3%. Now she went back and fixed it to 3% plus 5,000.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
And so if you have 2 or 2.5% on there and somebody offers you 3, just have your buyer sign a modification.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, Anne.
Yes, how can I download this to my DocLoop and be able to autofill instead of me typing in this form from FI?
If you autofill it, just autofill it and then upload it into DotLoop, autofill it here and then upload it into DotLoop and then just add your signatures and initials. I was going to call DotLoop and see if they would convert our DotLoop forms into autofill, but I haven't done it yet.
Well, we've got them on autofill right now, the way they are.
Yeah, you can autofill it, but our DotLoop would automatically auto-populate all of that stuff once we put the buyer's information in. But you can autofill it. You can fill it here and just add it for signatures in DotLoop.
But the buyer agreement that I received from the office is PFD, so I have to type in.
No, not if
No.
if you received one from the office, yeah, but you just go on paper.
They're all fillable on here.
Oh, really? How can I
when they are.
get the autofill again? I'm
Look,
confused.
this is on paperless pipeline.
Okay. Oh, paperless? I have to go there and get it? Not
Yeah,
the-
that's where our forms are.
because I download from your email, so I've been using that.
Oh
No,
no,
go into
those were
paperless and fill it out on paperless.
Oh, make my life easier. Thank you.
yeah,
And then
they're all
download
paper-
it and upload it into DotLoop.
Okay. I don't know how to do it. I will figure it out. Thank you.
But
All right.
while I'm on here, yakking, I wanted the central lock key, while I'm thinking about it, you have to open the app on a Wi-Fi connection, like at your house or at a coffee shop. Once you open the Wi-Fi app, this did not make sense to me, you connect to their server at Central Lock and you're connected for 10 days. So I went to put a lockbox on a listing and they're like, well, you're not connected to the server, because I'm thinking it connects in the sky like, the others do. So I just want everybody to know that before you show or do a listing, you want to go on a Wi-Fi and open your Central Lock app to be connected to their server so that it works quicker at the door. Sorry, that was off the track.
Wow, making your life easier. That sounds great. Great, thanks. You just opened up a Pandora's box there. I already had people complaining today about, we have someone who's one of our Lake County agents talk about how many other Lake County agents are members of Aura and have gone and done the Century Lock box. And so now everybody's got to, there's so many people who live in the Orange and Seminole who are members of other associations and vice versa. And so it's just going to be a mess. Everybody's going to have to join both of them and pay for both of them. Otherwise, it's going to be extremely inconvenient. You guys have done showings before. Imagine having to talk to all of the listing brokers, all of the listing agents the same day you're doing 5 showings just to get in. If you don't have that box, if you haven't paid that $19.99, and then you got to remember to log in every 10 days now, apparently, to the server. Fun. Okay. Compensation agreement. We're having problems with these guys. When you have a listing and they just signed the thing where they're going to do 5 and 2.5 and 2.5, go ahead and fill these out, please. So many of you guys are getting asked by other I don't know if you guys are doing a good job with this or not, but other brokers are not, because you guys are asking me, which one do I send? I don't know. Typically, it's going to be this one, I think, because we talked about before, there's not a lot of people are going to do separate, buyer's broker and then seller pays the other broker. a certain amount. So I think most of the time it's going to be this one, but this is the one I would send if someone asked me to send one. But guys, if it's your listing, go ahead and do this. Put Florida Realty Investments here. Put the property address. It's going to, because that's going to be the same no matter what. Property address is going to be the same no matter what. The buyer's name we leave blank. We don't know. We don't know the buyer's broker. We don't know the buyer's name. You put your 30 days here and put your whatever your percentage is here. Put your 2.5% right here, or whatever it is. And then that's it. Send that out. Sign it. Go ahead and sign it and send it out. Okay? When they ask what the percentage is, you just have it ready and send it out. Does that make sense to everybody? And help you?
Yes, I have been put, I'm a buyer agent, have been put the commission on the additional term. Say the seller agreed to pay for buyers 2.5 or 3%. Is it okay like that?
No, that's not right. It's not right. It depends on what you're getting from the other agent. If they're telling you they won't pay, then yes.
No, they told me that's how much they pay. So that's why I put in there.
For now, it's the Wild West. This is the right way to do it, but for now, it's the Wild West. So nobody knows exactly what they're doing yet, but this is the right way to do it.
But then I still need this form from the listing agent?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it. That's what they want you to do.
Oh.
Any other questions? Yeah, it's a good question. And yes, people are doing that. It is legal to do that. Not, I'm saying legal. It's always been legal to do it, but it's ethical to do it now. And now that everyone has a signed form from the buyer, the problem with doing it before is that agreement is between the seller and the buyer. The brokerage is not a party to that agreement. So theoretically, they could negotiate you out of it, right? The realtor does not have to be a part of all of their negotiations. Once they have each other's information, you guys have had your sellers talk to buyers before and your buyers talk to sellers before. And you know that it's never a great thing when they do, but they can negotiate you out of your commission. They could before, but now the buyer owes you because you have a signed agreement with them. They owe you that 3%. And even if it's only 2.5%, they can't negotiate you out of it. They're still going to have to pay you at some point. Tammy.
So if you were told by the listing agent that they're paying 2.5% and they didn't send you this, couldn't you just fill this out yourself and send it to them as well with all the information on it and they just sign it too?
Yeah, that's what you're having to do right now. So many.
Well, normally the listing agent's supposed to send it to us.
Well,
correct?
It should be. Yes. I mean, it makes complete sense that they would already have it done.
But if they
for
don't, we can
your
do
name.
it back to them.
Yes, but you don't even know which one. I've had you guys ask me, should I use the
right.
seller's broker or seller's broker to buyer's broker or seller to buyer? I don't know. I'm not the listing. I don't have the listing agreement,
Sure.
and they should have told you that. And there's no way for you to know. We're not, we can't see that. I've also had you guys ask, should I show them my buyer's brokerage agreement? They asked for it. No, this is between our brokerage and our client, not them. Do not show them your buyer's brokerage agreement. Do not ask to see their listing agreement or don't give them your listing agreement. That is between them. And this is between all of us, but the buyer's brokerage agreement is between us and our client, not for other people to see. All right. Any other questions, Lori? Your hand disappeared. All right. That's this form. It is very simple. The reason I showed you guys this form is because I want you to use it for your listings. Have it all ready to go and just have it have it ready to go by text, by email, by everything. Yes, Lori.
Okay, so if this buyer representing himself decides that he wants to communicate directly with my sellers, I have to allow him to do that, correct?
Yeah. I mean, can't stop
And
it.
what if he tries to negotiate me out of the?
He can't. You have a listing agreement that says you get paid, Lori.
Okay.
You can't negotiate out of anything. Nobody can negotiate you out of anything anymore because buyers have agreements and sellers have agreements. You're not
Except
representing
that
buyers.
this one's going to have a non-representation form.
That's perfectly fine. You've got a 5 or 6% or whatever you have from your seller.
Okay.
Nobody
Just
can
thinking
negotiate you
about
out
it,
of your listing. Nobody can negotiate you out of anything now because it's all in there. Okay. You have an agreement with, obviously you're getting paid by the seller, but if he were, so here's what can't happen. If Tammy were representing him, Tammy cannot talk to your seller. Buyers and sellers can always talk to each other. Other people's agents cannot talk to your client directly. That is a violation.
Okay, but he's acting as his own representation, so.
Right. Well, it doesn't matter. He can talk to them only once.
Okay.
He's a citizen and they're citizens, so they can talk to each other. They're not. They're
Okay,
not.
I'm
No,
just
they're not.
being basically neurotic here.
Yes. Yeah. Let's say so.
Okay,
You're worried
thank
about
you.
something, but you have a listing agreement that guarantees you get paid no matter who buys it, no matter what. I don't know if you guys have read your listing agreement, but if they sell it to anybody, they can sell it to somebody you've never met before, and you still get paid.
Right. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on that before we go to the buyer brokerage agreement? All right. This is, well, first I'm going to do the modification to it. It is, let me share this. It is the one you guys keep asking me about for when you get bonuses or you get offered more than was on here because somebody sat down with you and said, I'm only going to pay you 2% for being my buyers. I'll sign this form, but I only want to do 2%. And then you get offered 2.5%, or whatever it was. Right. So obviously we filled in the Florida Realty Investments part because we're always going to be the broker on these forms. So whatever one they use, the showing agreement or the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, can't do both, one or the other. Termination date, this is how they cancel also. Termination date will be whatever date they want to cancel, typically that day. Compensation to the broker will be, this is where you change it. So this is where we had 3%. Now we're doing 3% plus 5,000 for that bonus we got, right? And that's it. That's how we would do that. You can change the protection period. You can change the cancellation fee. You can change, this is the state form, guys. We didn't do anything to this one. This is the state form. Yes, Ann.
Yes, by agreement, normally the term 6 months or 1 year that you guys do.
Whatever you can get them to agree to. 1 year would be great. Typically for buyer brokerage agreement, you would think 3 months or 6 months would be plenty, hopefully.
Okay.
But if whatever they're agreed to, they'll agree to, as long
I
as
just put it in 6 months, so they sign.
make it. I don't think there's a maximum date you can put on here.
Oh,
So do whatever you want. 6 months is great. That's plenty of time to find them a house if they're serious at all. If not, they're wasting your time probably.
thank
but-
you.
All right. Any other questions on this form? This is the modification. If you need to, if this is good, if you ever need to use this to make more money, it's bad if they're canceling. But those are the two main reasons you'll be using this. I don't see you change the protection period often. If they do, I'd be a little bit worried about that. Cancellation fee to the broker, you can change it there. That you can change if you agree to a lesser fee. And parties agree to conditionally terminate the agreement. Consumer fee will pay the agreed upon cancellation fee. So this is another cancellation one. You can do that. Broker and consumer hereby agree to unconditionally terminate the agreement. All right. So this is termination and release. This is termination and changing the date. Okay. Any questions on that? All right. Let's look at the buyer brokerage agreement one more time. Okay, so we already have the broker in here, consumer, term, type of property, location. Retainer, I've had a lot of questions on this. Retainers they have now are earned and payable upon execution of this agreement. You have earned it when they sign this agreement. It's due with the agreement. Broker and consumer agree the retainer is for real estate services described herein and does not constitute a fee paid for rental information list, as you guys learned about the rental information list in school. Retainer fee. It is due right then. If you guys get $500 or $1,000 or whatever, it should be made out to FRI. We will turn it around for you. We keep 10%. We'll turn it around for you immediately, 24 to 48 hours. Purchase or exchange. This is for your main one that you guys will use. This is your 3% or 3% plus 350 or 175 or whatever you're doing. Oh, that is going to affect September 1st, by the way, guys. Our fees are going up, not for you. If you can hear my voice, do not freak out. They don't go up for you. That means you are already a member of FRI, and your fees will stay the same for as long as you're on your agreement with us. So if you leave and come back, they change, but it's going to be $399 instead of $350 and $199 instead of $175. We've been in business since 2007, and the fee was $350 back then. I don't know what year she added the 175, but it was before I got here 10 years ago. The fees have never, ever, ever changed, but they have to. It's stuff, costs are rising. So $399 and $175, and their expert closer fee, if they join after September 1st, is going to be $45 instead of, I'm sorry, $49 with no, and it must be done by credit card with no credit card fee, but $49 starting September 1st. Not for those of you who can hear my voice. Do not call me and ask me questions about rising costs, because we're not doing that. If you're already with FRI, you are locked into your agreement. All right. So that's just an aside, but when you tell your friends to join FRI, tell them now $399 and $199. There we go. Non-refundable retainer fee. So we get you paid on that, purchase and exchange. So this is where you put your 3% plus, if you're listening right now, either 350 or 175. Conditional termination. You cannot leave this open-ended, guys. I get questions on that every day. We've discussed it, I know, at length in here. You cannot leave it open-ended. You cannot say 3% plus whatever bonus I'm offered. Cannot do that. You can say 3% plus $10,000. And if it doesn't come to fruition, it doesn't come to fruition, but the buyer would be crazy to sign that because they owe you 3% plus. This is a real legal document. They owe you 3% plus $10,000. So don't do that. Just modify it later when it happens. But Ryan, what if my buyer wants, when they see I'm getting an extra $10,000 or $5,000, what if they want part of that to sign a modification? Between you and them, figure it out. It's a legal document. It's a legal decision that your guys are making, and it's theoretically a negotiation. So you guys decide. If they want part of it, you can split it with them. You're still going to get all $5,000. You're going to have Michaela write you a commission contribution letter for whatever part you're splitting with them. I hope that answers any questions you guys might have in advance on that. If you guys have a question about that, just ask. Protection period, that's what covers after this is over, if they go back and buy a property that you brought to their attention or any other person found by the consumer. So this is my favorite. I love this. A termination, consumer contracts to acquire any property which was called to consumer's attention by broker or any other person. That means any of the other 8 billion people in the world, or found by consumer. So that counts them too. So any property they looked at during this time is you get paid for. Your consumer's obligation to broker fee ceases upon customer entering into good faith exclusive broker agreement with another broker after the termination date. So I get this question from you guys a lot. What if they sign with me today and then I've got them on a 6-month agreement and they sign with another broker a month from now because they want to see some house real quick on a Saturday? They owe both of you. The only way they wouldn't is if it's after the termination date. So keep that in mind. These are people who have legal obligations out in the world. They can't go around just signing forms with everybody. Make them realize they're signing a serious form when they sign with you. I know you don't want to. I know you want to make it like, oh, it's nothing, just sign. But it is a real form, and let them know that they're working with you. They need to know that. They need to know that it's important if they sign with you that they did not already sign with someone else. You're still going to be owed the money. Yours is no less important, but they're going to probably have a hard time performing for both parties. Yes, Sandy. Sorry, you disappeared. Ann.
Yes, I just have a buyer's want to work with me, and I say that you have to sign by agreement, and he said he worked with another agent, and I asked him, did you sign? And he said, yes, I did. So I explained to him he didn't know what he signed. And next time, should I just let him sign, or just I feel bad because you say that he owned both. If I find
You
him,
should feel, yeah. You
Uh-huh.
are, you shouldn't have to ask me that question. That is, it's not ethical if you know that he would owe both and all that. So no, you
Yeah.
should not have had him sign. You did the right thing, but let him know that he needs to cancel with that other agent, or have them show him the property.
but he cannot cancel. He doesn't want to work with the other agent, but he cannot cancel, right?
He can cancel, but he might have just had a showing agreement for 1 or 2 houses. Who knows what he had? Because buyers are not educated on this at all. This is all brand new to everyone. And I mean, most real estate agents right now, hopefully not ours, but most real estate agents don't know the difference. They don't know what they're signing. So it is certain that buyers don't know what he signed, and he may be out of his obligation on that, because it may have been a showing agreement or a pre-touring agreement. Who knows what it was? But he should have a copy of it regardless.
Okay.
So ask him to see a copy of it, and you see a copy of it. If it's a showing agreement that lists 3 properties and this isn't one of them, then you're wide open. If it's a pre-touring agreement, you're wide open. All right. Only if he's in a buyer brokerage agreement for a length of time, and then he'd have to cancel that.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, Mike.
Yes. Number 6 and number 9, the fees in there. Are there any reasonable set numbers, dollar amount for something like that?
For the retainer?
Like a retainer fee, yeah. What would be a reasonable request to put in there?
Whatever they'll agree to, Mike. There's no. It depends on what you're doing for them. If they're saying, I want you to show me properties in the next 2 weekends, or what's your time worth? And I mean, I don't know. Pay for your gas, pay for your time.
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever they'll agree to. If you say, yeah, I'll charge you $1,000 for that.
Okay.
Whatever your time's worth, bud. Whatever they'll agree to.
All right.
So there's a reasonable, but I think you're going to see a lot of 500s and thousands.
All right. Very good. Thanks. And number 9 as well, conditional termination. Is that again just whatever they'll agree to as well, what our time is worth?
Yeah, but this is no cancellation fee. So yeah, I think this is kind of an either or on this. If they want to terminate it early, after they wasted your time driving around for weeks, this is where you put that 500 or 1,000. I think you'll see that more often than the other, because you don't necessarily want them to pay you $1,000 and 3%. Or maybe you do. I mean, that'd be great. But they can enter a written agreement to the effect and pay a cancellation fee. So if they do waste your time and then tell you they want to cancel and go with Rakesh, then give them $1,000 out of them.
All right. Very good. Thank you much.
Or whatever it is.
Okay.
Right? Whatever you feel like is going to be a good cancellation fee.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. Sandy next. Sandy, you're on mute, or we lost you. Rakesh.
Yeah, so on the retainer fee, I want to make sure I understand correctly. So it is due at the execution, and your client's supposed to write a check to the payable to the FRI.
Yes.
Okay, and then we get paid from the FRI minus 10%. So we get paid after you deduct 10% of that, correct?
Yes. We turn
Is
it
that
around.
also true for any fee, Ryan, we are coming, it has to come to the FRI, or there's any fee directly we can charge the
No,
client?
it's the same for rentals or referrals. 10% up to whatever your 350 or 175 rate is.
Okay.
Next, I'm sorry, I'm missing who's next.
I came back.
Oh, hi, Sandy. Go ahead.
Hi, I had issues with the microphone. Can I make the termination day for a year for a
Yes.
year? Okay, that's all what I needed. Thank
Okay.
you.
Lori's next.
Okay, I had to take myself off mute. If I get a retainer,
Yes.
can I tell them that if they end up buying one of the houses I show them, that I will credit the retainer to what they owe me as a buyer agent?
No, you can do your own retainer in the additional notes. You'll need language for that, but this retainer is non-refundable retainer fee, and it does not go toward the. It's an addition to any compensation earned by broker.
Okay, just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
You can put that in additional terms, but you can't just decide that. Doesn't leave it open-ended like that. There used to be on the old buyer brokerage agreement, there was a box to check whether it would go toward the commission or not. Now that is on, and they just make
No
it
longer in there.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, but it can go down as in additional terms.
Yes,
Thank you.
you bet. Roger. Roger, you there, bud? Your mute is on if you're trying to talk. All right, let's go admin. I'm not sure who that is. All right, fantastic. Any other questions? Roger, if you need to ask a question, please do. Admin, you're back on. Your microphone is muted. Okay. Any other questions on this? So let's talk about the. I want to talk about the dispute resolution and the arbitration that we have crossed out. Arbitration, I'll tell you why, and I am not an attorney, but this is from our attorney. Arbitration in commission amounts under, $10,000, $12,000. I don't know if you guys know how arbitration works. You pay an arbiter, a mediator arbiter, and they charge you $300, $400, $500 an hour plus your attorney's due plus. And by the time you get done, it costs $10,000 or $15,000. It is not ever worth it for. It's very rarely worth it to fight over a small commission like that. Like most of the time, you guys will be on these forums, and so with litigation, if you read the line above, the litigation arises out of this agreement. The prevailing party will be entitled to recover reasonable attorney's fees and costs, unless the parties agree that disputes will be settled by arbitration as follows. We do not have to agree to arbitration, and we do not agree to arbitration. That is for you guys. That is for your benefit to not have to agree to arbitration, because arbitration is going to eat up whatever commissions that you have. So you want to go to this so you do not get frivolous lawsuits, and your costs will be covered if you do get frivolous lawsuits. There you go. That is the answer. If anybody ever asks that question from our attorney, you guys are not attorneys, but you're telling them that FRI does not allow you to do arbitration, and that is the truth. Yes, David.
Oh, I don't mean to bicker, but a quick question. Did you imply that the payment that we would owe to FRI would be limited to $350? In other words, if we charged $1,000 retainer and then fees for other things, that we would be paying, or you would be retaining 10% of everything up to $350? Is that what you said earlier? I hadn't heard that from you before.
Yes, that's true on everything. Referrals, rentals, anything. We keep 10%. So if you get, let's say $1,000 referral, we only keep $100. If you get a $10,000 referral, we only keep $350.
Okay, so however much is collected, you get 10%, but you cap out at $350.
Correct.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you very much.
Unless you're on the 175 plan, then we cap out at 175.
That's even better than I thought. Thank you very much.
You bet. Admin, we're going to try this one more time.
Hi, Ryan, this is Winnie.
Hi, Winnie.
Question about that. I have a international client that he switched to me to find another house. And the original, I'm not sure he had paperwork with the first realtor, and he already canceled the new house that he wants to buy. He is not going for that house. Now, like once he come back to the US, and then he will ask me to help him to find the houses. So, if the original realtor has a agreement with him that that it's already done because he canceled that he doesn't want that house anymore. So I can enter the new agreement with him, right?
Well, you can always enter a new agreement with him. It's whether or not he's free to enter an agreement. And if he is still under the time frame, it doesn't matter that the house canceled.
All right.
If he is still under this, in this, on number 2 here, agreement will begin on the blank and end on the blank. If he's still within that time period, he owes them money still if he buys something else.
So he owes the other agent. So he
He doesn't
owes
owe them
the-
anything because he doesn't owe them anything right now because he hasn't
Right.
bought anything. But if he owes them, if he buys something, if he signs with you, he'll owe both of you
Oh,
unless this date has passed or he is terminated.
so that I have to find out what he signed
Just
the agreement with
Have
them.
him send you a copy of what he has signed, and then guys, just so you know, when somebody signs something with you, you are obligated. You will be toasted in court. You will lose in court if you do not give them a copy of it. So anytime anybody signs anything with you, including
What-
contracts, anything else, make sure they get a copy of it.
What
but-
happened? Right. Yeah, that's correct. But what happened? He doesn't have a copy, but he signed something because a lot of people does. A
That's
lot
what I'm
of
telling you. Well, I don't know what happens. He needs to get a copy. He needs to ask the agent for a copy, and the agent should have given him a copy already.
right. But what if he doesn't have a copy and the agent keeps the copy for that
Well,
that?
if he took them to court, he'd probably win because I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but if you took them to court, he'd probably win because you have to give. We are professionals. We have to give consumers copies of things they sign.
Right.
Just
right.
like they're signing real documents and they're responsible for them, we're responsible to give them a copy of what they signed. Everybody should always get a copy of something they sign.
Okay. I got it.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Melissa,
Hey, good morning.
morning. Oh, you muted yourself right after. There
Oh,
you go.
here we go. I'm sorry. Good morning. I have a question on number 9 again. I'm a little confused. So if you agree with the buyer or the buyer decides to cancel, terminate, and you agree on a fee there, like let's say $1,000, they cancel this BBA with you, right? And they go and sign a couple of weeks later with a different agent and purchase a house that you showed them. Are you still entitled to commission at that point, or does this relieve them from me completely?
No, because they'll do that on purpose.
Mhm.
So no, if you're within this protection period, you guys can
Okay.
make this 30, 60, 90 days, make it whatever you want. But within 30 days, they go contracts to acquire. They don't have to close. The
Mhm.
contract to
Okay.
acquire any property, which was called a consumer's detention by broker or any other person. So any property they found out about during this time, I don't care if they sell it on Zillow, they still owe you, even if they cancel with you, if they don't wait more than 30, 60, 90 days, whatever this number you put here,
Okay.
then they still owe you. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, you cannot. They've got it where they can. They've made these agreements better. They make us have one now, but they've made them a lot tighter and a lot more secure for us, which is good. One of the only good things that's come out of this, because you guys should have been using the buyer brokerage agreement. I've been preaching it for 9.5 years, but this one now is better. It's got more teeth. It's great. Roger.
Yes, hi, good morning. I'm sorry, I got onto a call when my hand was raised before. I just have a question regarding the retainer fee. Like if you want to charge somebody a retainer fee, is there some type of lingo you can add? Like I only charge you a retainer fee if I show you more than one property, or is that illegal?
No, you can put that in the bottom. You can negotiate. Or you can put that in the conditional or the additional terms.
Okay, so it on a condition that if I show you more than just this one property, you have to pay a retainer.
Yeah, you can do anything in the other terms down here. Anything legal.
Okay, that was all I had.
You bet.
Thank you.
You can make them. You can make them pay you $100 for every property they want to see. You can do whatever you want to do. It's all legal down here. You're getting, but they have to go through us. But they have to pay you through us. But they're all legal. All right. Any other
Yeah, because
questions?
I figured, they'd be like, well, I'm not gonna pay you a retainer fee to show one property, and so that's why I asked that question.
Okay, I understand. And you can make it, and I think a lot of people will make it you write down here something to the effect of retainer fee will go toward even though it says above that it won't go toward the buyer brokerage commission, retainer fee will be credited toward the buyer brokerage commission, if that's what you want to do down here. Okay. Any other, it's kind of like an attorney retainer fee. You give them a retainer, but it goes towards your bill at some point. So any other questions? All right. Well, guys, I'm available for questions, but I like to answer them right here in front of everybody. A lot of you guys have the same question. So we're going to ask one more time for any questions you might have on any of these forms before we go. Please feel free. Now's your time.
Okay. Hi, Brian. I'll ask a question.
Please do.
Now, for the as-is contract, when you're writing a purchase offer, is there any changes to that? I didn't see that it has changed since
Nope.
July 23. Okay.
Nope. Hasn't changed. That was when July 23 is when they put in the thing about certain foreign buyers of agricultural property, et cetera.
Okay. And I'm organizing my forms right now, and I just keep hearing this news, and I just heard yesterday they're removing the concessions field, but that's already been done, correct?
Yeah, that was,
okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. You can talk about concessions in the remarks, but you cannot, there's no field for it anymore. So don't worry about
okay.
It or not, but don't be looking for the field because they've removed it. But you can talk about it in the remarks. And I had somebody yesterday say, can I still talk about it? Because we want to do one for flooring. Absolutely. So, you can put $5,000 concession toward flooring for sure. Don't put, let's negotiate concessions for your commission. You can't do that. You can't talk about commission at all. If you guys have noticed, if you put something .com, they flag it now. They flag anything that looks like commission or compensation. If you use a letter COM, they'll flag it now for possible violation before you even submit your listing. So they're checking everything, but it's ridiculous. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Juan.
Hey, Ryan. I don't know if you covered this already. I was very late in this meeting, but my main thing is I work with the investors, and sometimes they just want to go ahead and look at some properties, etc. Which would be but I don't want to put amounts because I won't get paid until I actually work with them. Is there like a basic contract that I can put paid if contract happens or paid if anything? I think in the answer you emailed me, you said that you have to put an amount. Did I understand you correctly? Regardless?
You have to put a percentage or an amount. Yeah, you have to. You don't have to collect that amount, but you have to put an amount. You can't leave it open. You can't say whatever they're offering, whatever I can negotiate. You can't do that. You can tell them that, we're going to make every effort to get this from the seller. Can
I put like $100 if we close or if we do business?
No, because you have to modify it later. And if they don't agree to modify it, then you don't get paid. Or you get paid $100.
That's for the touring form.
That's
right?
for any of them. That's for any of them. You cannot collect more than what it says there. And the pre-touring even makes you put an amount on there. But all it does, it says they don't have to use you. So, but if they do use you, they got to pay you the amount.
Okay, but we don't have to collect or anything there, because if I start making it too complicated with them,
just put the 3% and put, look, I'm not going to hold you to anything more than what they're offering. Anything more than what I can negotiate. So put 2.5%, 3%, whatever you feel good about, whatever you think they'll agree to. And everybody's got to do it. That's the only good news, Juan. Everybody's got to do it. If they call somebody else, they've got to do it too.
Got it. Thanks.
Now, will people violate that and not do it? I don't know, but they shouldn't.
So, and just to clarify, and I know you answered this on the email, but I want to be 110%. I guess reading so much gets you to a point where you are skeptical about everything. I normally put my email, searches on the MLS to send when anything changes to some people. I used to do it before without thinking it twice, put a whole bunch of people there, and when something happened, it would happen. But now with all these changes, do they audit you with
You don't have to until you're going to show a property. You don't have to.
Okay, so they don't audit your things and say, hey, you send this to 50 people. What are the contracts type of thing?
No, not unless they're looking at properties.
Got it. Great. Thanks, man.
And looking again, open houses, looking at your own listings, or if you're working an open house for someone else in our brokerage, there's no forms need to be signed.
Perfect.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you.
Denise. Hello, Denise. You're on mute if you're talking. All right, let's go to Lavette.
Yes, Ryan. I have two questions.
Yes.
For the lock boxes, can you use your own lock box?
Yes, you can use your own
There you go.
coded lockbox. Yes, you can.
Okay, awesome. The next question is if a seller signs a listing agreement with an agent, let's say about more than a month ago, but he had not received a copy of the listing agreement, can he list with another agent and without penalizing, without having to?
No, he knows he signed one. It's in good faith. He needs to ask for a copy of it or just cancel it. So, I mean, it's no big deal to just cancel it. No, you signed one. What if they sent it and it went to a spam folder or, something like that? So, you have to be able to prove they didn't send it to you. Make them prove they did, and you're only going to do that if it goes to court or something. So, no, I don't want to confuse things. If they sign something, it's important that they sign something, and they should get a copy. They should have gotten a copy. But if they don't have a copy, he needs to ask the agent for a copy, and then cancel it.
Well, it's an older person. He doesn't have an email, so the agent was supposed to deliver it to him, and he's been waiting now for quite a few weeks.
Okay, I don't know what other than to call that agent and say drop off a copy.
Okay.
Or I just want to cancel.
Okay.
You don't have to have a copy of it to cancel. He needs to cancel in writing. So, anybody, he can write it, and anybody can drop it off at the guy's office and tell me it canceled.
What form should you use for canceling a listing agreement?
He doesn't need a form. He's a consumer. He doesn't need a form. He can just write it on a piece of paper.
Okay.
All right. And sign it. Juan.
This is the second time that they ask about the providing the documents, but e-signature is an automated proof that they received it, right? We're talking about if you have it in your folder and somebody just signs it, or are we talking about something I don't know?
Typically, e-signatures are copied on everybody when everybody signs, but sometimes not. So I would just send it extra just to be careful, just to be safe. But yeah, typically when you sign an e-signature, you've done it before. You sign something and then it sends it back once everybody signed it. That's what I'm talking about. Lori. All right, let's go with Mal.
Okay, I had to unmute. If you're asking if your customer that it does not have a copy of his previous contract, can you contact the agent that he has the contract with and request that they email you a copy of it? Will that suffice?
They don't have to email you a copy. No, I wouldn't email you a copy.
If my customer does not have email,
I'm not sending you that because you're not in my brokerage and it's none of your business. If you ask me, that you tell me he doesn't have a copy and I need to drop it off to him, that's different.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sharing my listing agreement with you if you're not in my brokerage.
No, I'm talking about a buyer agent agreement.
That either. None of your business.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. Malvis?
Hi, Brian, everyone. So I'm on the MLS and I didn't realize about the commission. I thought it was only for residential sales, but actually I'm helping somebody look for a property for rent. And is the commission or whatever compensation for rentals, it's gone as well. So that means I also have to call the listing agent and find out if the landlord is actually offering anything or charge my potential tenant so I can get paid something.
Correct.
Okay.
Everything says you're correct. The only thing you don't need is a buyer brokerage agreement signed with the tenant. But the compensation fields are gone from everything in MLS.
Just the compensation agreement was what I need from my tenant?
Yeah, you can do a compensation agreement or you can do whatever, but what I'm saying is you don't need a buyer brokerage agreement, anything signed with a potential tenant. But I'm telling you that compensation fields on MLS are completely gone for any kind of listing.
Okay, so how would I, so how can I charge this couple to help them find a home for rent? If I don't use the buyer broker agreement.
You don't have to use a buyer brokerage agreement.
Okay, what would I use?
Buyer brokerage agreement. And here's where you put it on page 2. There's compensation for, I'm going to show you here. Okay, so you are not required to, but if you want to get paid by your tenant, you go right here under compensation and you go under B, 7B, lease.
7B.
Yep.
And what's the name of that form, Ryan?
It's a buyer brokerage agreement. Same one we've been talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
buyer broker agreement. Okay.
Yeah, this is where you do it for buyers, and this is where you do it for renters.
Okay.
You do not have to have this to show a rental property. You do
Okay.
have to
Yes.
have it. You do. It is required to show a purchase property. But it's
Correct.
not required to show a rental property. But if you want to get paid, you do it here. You can even just do. You know what? I'll find you guys a place to live. Give me $500.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? And then you put
Thank
0
you.
down there. All right. No problem. Vivian.
Sorry about that. So I was under the impression, because I actually looked up the law because I was kind of frustrated with the whole leasing fiasco that I had to deal with. And it said that I cannot charge tenants by law when I looked up the real estate law. Is that incorrect?
That's incorrect. You can charge tenants for showing them rental properties. Absolutely.
Okay.
You can make money for any real estate service. That might have been some kind of weird protected thing. I don't know, but no, you can absolutely charge tenants for showing them properties.
Well, then I'm going to. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Feel free. Lisa.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was off of mute. Well, I do have a question. Let me think about it. Can you share the MLS with potential consumers if you don't have a buyer broker agreement?
Yes, anything in that you can't share your password, but you can share information in the MLS. Absolutely. You can send them auto.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we had to have that first.
You
Okay.
only have to have it to show properties. Just to show properties, you have to have them.
Okay. Thank you.
Bet. If you're going to video show properties, you need to have it. That's your anybody's next question. If you're going to show them a video, they're out of state, and you're going to go take a video for them, you need to have you've presented that property to them. Yes, Natalie. Natalie might be muted. All right, let's go with Rakesh.
Hey, Brian, question about if you are trying to help a client to sell the business without the real estate. Do you know what's is there a standard contract like the FARWAR for the residential, which you use for business sale?
There's not. They do not have that anywhere that you will find it. You will have to get a business brokerage listing agreement. You can find them online. I can help you later if you want to email me.
Okay, thanks.
Natalie.
Hi, Ryan. Sorry about that. I'm going to be showing properties in New Smyrna Beach, and I'm looking on my super key. It does say primary access right now is Aura, but secondary access, we've got like Daytona, New Smyrna. We've got access through that app, but do I have to continue to pay? Because I thought they were stopping that like tomorrow or the next day.
The 29th, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need to continue to pay for Supra?
Super, yes, in order to show going forward.
Not if you contact the listing agent and they give you a pass for it, a one-day code for it.
Okay, that's for the Supra. I'd still have to use
either
the
one.
Supra app.
Either both of those two companies have one-day codes that they can give, temporary codes they can give to get you in.
Okay.
that the listing agent can do, and hopefully listing agents are up to date on it and know how
Yeah.
to do it.
That's my thing, but couldn't
I would, Natalie, I would have and I will have membership in both.
So I'd have to join.
Yeah, it's an extra
the
18,
board?
19 bucks a month. No, you don't have to join the board. No, you can, but you can be a member of another one. So where are you now, Aura?
Aura.
Okay, well, go to like West Volusia. West Volusia, all the surrounding ones, Osceola, West Volusia, Lake and Sumter, they're all offering to allow you to pay to be part of their, you don't need to be a member of their association to pay the 19 bucks a month or whatever it is to have super access.
Okay, so I'll contact them today. And then also I noticed our dues are with Aura coming up for NAR and everything.
Yes.
Are we doing Thompson anytime soon?
Yes, you're able to do that right now. So if you do not want to join, this is the time where I've told you guys we're not really pushing Thompson because it hasn't been really relevant because you already are members of your board. Your boards expire. When's your board expire? October, November?
I think it's October, but they're giving like $50 off if you renew by the end of this month.
Okay. If you guys do not want to renew with your local board, NAR and FAR, then you can join the Thompson brokerage and have MLS. You will not be able to call yourself a quote unquote realtor. But otherwise there's not much difference. So whatever you want to do, you can do. It'll save you 650, 700 bucks a year. God knows how high NAR is going to go. I know they've promised not to go up next year, but they're going to have to go up eventually because they're paying $500 million. So, yeah, so Thompson is, our Thompson brokerage is available. It is FRI 4. Someone was asking in the chat, you just pay for MLS. That's all you pay for with Thompson. You pay MLS. Does that answer your question, Natalie? I hope so.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Ryan.
All right, no problem. Sandy.
But you just answered one of the question about what was Thompson. Sorry, I'm not very up to date. So we can just pay the MLS with
Yes.
With
Yes, and I
Thompson?
will tell you though, over in Space Coast, you're just as well off staying on the board. We are members of we are Thompson members there, but it's not much of an advantage for you. Because Space Coast owns their own board, they hammer you for Thompson stuff, and you're better off just staying a member of the board. That is
right.
That's a Space Coast thing, and I don't even know that we'll renew as Thompson members in Space Coast because they are the only ones that own their own board or their own MLS, and they are not friendly with Thompson people.
Okay, because right now I am with Aura, and with Space Coast, I only have the MLS, the Supra.
Oh, you're just as well off then. You're good.
So I keep the Supra with them, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Lori.
Will you be devoting an entire session to make sure that we understand Thompson better?
I will,
Also-
and it'll be soon because now people are starting to get invoices for their boards.
Okay, and I have a whole bunch of lock boxes that I purchased. And every time there's been any kind of an update or battery issue or whatever, I've been instructed to take that lockbox to my local board. How's that going to handle after this?
Who's your local board?
Lake Sumter.
Nothing's changed there. Nothing's
So
changed.
even if I
Aura
don't
switched.
even if I don't renew my membership to my local board, I will still be able to bring my lock boxes to them for whatever servicing is needed.
I don't think so. No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay, what I might do then is
We'll talk more about that. We'll get more into those lock boxes and all that stuff.
Okay, might be better to just sell my lock boxes beforehand and then buy something else that I can give out a combination each time.
Yes, or yes.
Yeah, because I got hundreds of dollars invested in lock boxes.
I'm sure you do.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
You bet. Christina.
Yes, Ryan. I think I just like not up to date with that Thompson thing. Is that something you say? Sorry, you can repeat again. That's something that you just pay the MLS.
Yes, you pay the MLS. You don't have to pay your local board, NAR or FAR. We're gonna.
So
cover-
where do I go? Is Thompson.com? I mean, what?
No. We have a brokerage. We have one. It's already set up. It is just.
Oh, it's
members-
already set up. Okay, with you guys. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Lavette.
Yes, with this Thompson, would you be able to attend classes?
Not with the board. No.
Not with the board. Okay.
No. Nope. You would not be board member. We're gonna go through. I'll go through the whole thing. We'll have a special class about it. We will, and we'll probably do it next week because the time is coming. You guys have started getting invoices from your board. So those of you who are Aura members, anyway. All right. I will see you guys next week. Have a great week, and we'll discuss the Thompson brokers next week and a bunch of other stuff. I'm sure we'll have to go over this again too, which is fine. Guys, this is a feeling out process. Nobody from any brokerage seems to have a handle on it. They keep changing the rules and changing things, and they'll continue to do so. All right. But hang in there. You guys are doing great. Just know the most that you can possibly know and contact me if you need anything. Bye, everybody.